What is up, Express crew? I'm Steven. Today, let's talk a little bit about the options of managing software in 2025. So instead, you're just listing features, we're going to be doing a real world test. So let's I'm going to be having Motion, we're going to be using Asana, we're going to be using ClickUp, we're going to be using Monday, and we're going to be using the Notion AI. So the contenders today are this 5 applications. Let's see which one fits for us the best. Now, Motion is known for its AI-powered scheduling and automation, while Asana is a popular choice for task management and team collaboration. There's also ClickUp, which is highly customizable with a wide range of features. I'm going to be talking about more of it later. And then we have the Monday. Monday is visually driven, focusing in workflows and into automations. And lastly, but not least, it's the Notion. Notion, it's like all-in-one workspace with project management capabilities. So to keep these things fair and focused, we have created a small realistic project website mockup design. This involves a few tasks like creating a homepage, wireframe, logo concepts, a color per lead, putting together the mockup, and gathering client feedback. So let's assign this to a single user. That's myself. We're going to give each task a due date spread across. We're going to give this task a due date spread across a week and set a medium priority. So this project is documented in a simple Google Doc that we were using as a baseline. Basically, we have creating a homepage, we have a logo concept, a color per lead, putting together the mockup, and gathering the client feedback. You're going to be using this schedule to put it all into all these applications and see which one is fitting and doing the most amazing thing, which is the project management host. So first up, let's go for Motion. So Motion does not have a free version trial unless you can add your credit debit card in order to continue. Motion is not that different from all other sites. Basically, the promise for Motion is that you can use the artificial intelligence. Now in here, if I just go directly into Motion, and my Motion account should be created like right away, this should be sending me directly into the choosing a plan, which is the Pro AI, the Business AI, and the Enterprise. Now, in today's tutorial, we are not going to be doing any kind of free trial. So for this particular reason, Motion is of the contenders, because Motion is only working with an actual plan. What's the difference with Motion with all of these plans? You even can see into the Motion dashboard, there's a section here all your way down that says compare. So you can compare Motion with Asana, we can compare Motion with ClickUp and Monday, which I think Monday is one of the most greatest contended. And basically here, what Motion have more than Monday is the workload, team capabilities, the AI planning and to prevent missed deadlines, customizable template, the workflow. All of these elements can be found into other ways to use the project management. So you're not losing a lot of stuff if you're not using Motion. So for this, Motion is off the charts. Now let's move on to Asana. Now we move on to Asana, a widely used platform known for a robust task management. We're going to be replicating this project that was supposed to be here. Let's create some sections for each page, assigning the task, setting the same due date as in our Google Doc, and exploring the different views like list and boards. So for this, inside Asana, I'm going to go for the option that says create. And here, what I'm going to be doing here is to start with an actual new project. Here, I'm going to start with an actual template. And it says search template here. I'm going to try out to look out for website. And if you don't have here, we're going to go for find inspiration. There we go. I have request tracking, creative request, cross team planning, main agenda, products, sales, marketing, HR, and design. So here into design, let's go for more templates for design. We have web design process. I'm going to choose this element. Now, really important that when you choose one of these elements, you have this mark. This mark says that it only has Asana advanced features. So that means that you need to have an actual active plan in order to get started here. Now, Asana comes for a really easily and free plan, but there are a few elements that are limited unless you have the Asana advanced features. So for this, let's try out something related. In my case, let's go for find inspiration, design. And here into design, instead of going with the web design process, let's go for design project plan. Inside Asana, I'm going to focus into the left section. Inside here, you have your new project. So my new project, using a template, into find inspiration, use the template, and I'm going to go for project name. In this case, it should be once again my website mockup design. The privacy, let's go for only my workspace. Now the start date should be today, and the end of it should be by the end of the week, which is, let's say, Friday the 23rd. Create a project. Now we are inside Asana. Now into the left section, you can see that here is my website mockup design. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different boards. We can change this from list, board, timeline, dashboard, calendar, workflow view. To make this process much faster, what I'm going to be doing here is to try to get started with boards. This is much more faster for me. Now here into my boards, I'm going to go for creating a home page wireframe. So here, let's go for creation. The next one, let's go for logo concepts. I'm going to create a new element, which is, instead of constructing, I'm going to have the design here. So since I already have this, I'm going to just delete this section. Approvals, and lastly, the mockup gathering client feedback. So I have all of it. And lastly, I'm going to just delete this section. And instead of handoff to web development, I'm going to go for feedback. Great. Now let's start with the first tasks. So here, where it says creation, let's go for click my first task. You can click into one task and start by assigning, creating due dates, project, dependency fields, and much more. Or you can start totally from scratch. I'm going to delete all of these tasks. And I'm going to add my first task, which is creation from Wix. If I click now into my task, I have my assign. I'm going to assign this to myself. The due date should be today. Project inside the portfolio. And if you want, you can add dependencies. In my case, I won't do it. So now I have the description. Let's say create a website on wix.com. We can add subtask. For example, where we wanted to create the website. In this case, create an account wix.com. Next subtask should be, for example, to assign a plan, purchase a domain, and add more and more subtasks as I am creating all of this. Next, into my concept, I can do exactly the same thing. Designs, approval, and here is my feedback. Now, since I am just getting started with this specific Asana project, I'm going to just limit myself to be with the creation project management. As you can see, it wasn't that hard to get started here into Asana. What I'm going to be doing here now is to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to run this project, but now here inside ClickUp. So let's tackle ClickUp, platform known for extreme customizability, and set up the website mockup design. Once again, project, creating tasks, assign due dates, and explore some of the different views and fields available. So let's see what does the ClickUp has to offer to us. Inside ClickUp, I'm going to focus once again into my space, create a new space, and let's say that this one is design. Continue, project management. And here what you can do is to customize defaults for project management. I have this default views. That's great because you don't have to see all of this. You can enable which one you wanted to. There are the default view templates. In my case, I think I'm going to just focus with the list, the calendar, the Gantt, and the board. Hunt to done and create space. You can even click applications. It can help you to make more organized your workflow. Now I'm going to change for boards as what we were actually getting started in. you can see that we already have a few boards here elements. So I think that I can just delete this section and do exactly the same thing. When in the section that says to-do list, I'm going to try to change this for creation. As you are creating a task, you might be seeing once again here this new element. Something great that we have here into ClickUp is that we have the artificial intelligence. Ask the brain to write a description, generate subtask, or find similar tasks. So let's say write a description. Write a description and insert below. So I have to work a little bit less inside here. And the status is into my in progress. My start date should be today by Friday. Assign it to myself. I can add the level of priority, let's say for example normal, tax, and track time. Track time is going to be really helpful if somebody will be tracking my time, and this one is monetizable. In this case, let's say 2 hours. And hit it now to save. And to my relationships, I can link task, logging, link a document, and connect a URL. For example, even connect this document from Google Docs inside ClickUp. And hit now into closed. So my Asana has now been created and generated in here. And it should be appearing inside here. So I'm going to close this and check out even the list view so we can see more about this task. Now let's do exactly the same thing with Monday. Into Monday, it's already asking us to create one project. Let's say, for example, website development. Then it's going to be asking you what are you going to be using for these columns. The owner, the status of it, the due date, files, budget, timeline, priority, and that will be actually it. I'm going to add just the priority. Next, and I have task by owner, by status, by due date, and overdue task. So let's go for task review and task by owner only. Hit into next. I go for let's go for the Kanban view, and lastly start with my very first task, which is once again creating the website. You can add a new task, for example. In this case, let's say creating an account here into wix.com, or even logo creation, and get started. Just like that, my website work manager into Monday should be created like right away. So here I have my to-do list completed, and I think that I don't know how to do this kind of tables, concept design, approval, feedback. I think it works much more faster for me to have a to-do list and a completed task. I can change it from the Kanban to see what is the actual process of what I'm actually doing. In this case, I think it should be appearing in here. I don't know why it doesn't appear. So I'm going to just close this and open this once again. Basically, what's into the header tab. The done, the working on it, the stuck, and not started. So once again, if I click into one assigned, it should be appearing in my group, my name, my owner, which in this case should be myself, the status, the due date, let's say by today, the priority once again, and here are updates that we can create. We can add files, and here's my activity log. This for me looks much more organized rather than ClickUp and Asana. So I think that when you want an organized step and task by task, I think Monday does a really great work. Now, if you wanted to automate, integrate, or add more stuff into your workflows, you have the integrate button into the upper side. Into Monday, what you can do is to connect, for example, Monday to Twilio. We can connect, I'm gonna go here into Explore. We can connect Gmail, we can connect Google Calendar. Let's say when an item is created and updated, create an event in Google Calendar. I can use this template, and I can connect my Google Calendar directly with Monday. So in my case, here's my account. I hit now into continue. I select all of the permissions, hit continue once more, and basically that will be actually it. So I think this one actually does a really more easy job rather than the other ones. So I'm going to try to do now the same thing, but with Notion. So I'm going to close this automation for now, and the all-in-one workspace that can also handle project management would be Notion AI. So let's set up the website mockup design into add new. I can start with build with AI. And here, let's say, create a project management document for a website mockup design. I think we can do exactly the same thing with the other tools. In this case, we did it with Motion, but I think that Motion has the great idea to automatically ask you what exactly you're looking for and if you want to do it with artificial intelligence. So we're going to be using the artificial intelligence in Notion, which is a really new tool into all of this task manager design. And check out what we have so far. So this customizable website mockup design project has client, priority, a designer, the type, the platform, file length. I can add notes and feedback received. And I think this one actually works for me. Then I'm going to hit now into done. Once I finish with this process, is now going to be appearing here my private document. So here is the view of it. Here is my status. Here's the client, the due date, the priority, the designer. And actually this is a little bit simpler than the other ones, but in this case I think this one actually works for me. So for example, this should be website mockup design for, in this case, let's say a website about, I don't know, eco-friendly products. The status, I'm gonna click on it and go for in progress. The client, it's really awesome that I can just add the name of a client, and I didn't think about it into others platforms. So I think this one is actually gonna be really great to add the name of it. So let's go for Jen Chow. The due date, let's say by today, and the priority, of course, should be high. Now into the designer, I'm gonna go for myself. The type should be landing page, corporate. The platform should be desktop, mobile, tablet, responsive, and I can add my file link in here. And lastly, adding some notes and the feedback received. And if you wanted to add something else, you can do it. So change it by status, change it by calendar view, as we just did with the other processes. Here is the like the board view, not started, in progress, review, and completed. So now that we have run our website mockup design product through each platform, I can tell you that the ease of use for the simple project, like the most intuitive to set up and manage our basic tasks, definitely it should be Notion. Now, the visual clarity, how easy it was to see the project status and deadlines at a glance, I believe that the best one was Monday. Monday does a really great work. Now, did any platforms feel like they'd offered too many features for our small projects, potentially adding unnecessary complexity? I think a ClickUp does that stuff, because there's a lot of automations, there's a lot of agents, there's a lot of artificial intelligence that usually appears in here. If I am just getting started with this kind of product management, there's a lot of tools that I think there's unnecessarily, and I wanted to have this process much more faster, easier, and simple. And lastly, the potential for scaling. So based on our initial experience, which platform seems best suited for larger, more complex projects and team collaboration? I think the ClickUp does a really great work, as well as Asana. Now, Asana looks for me too similar to Monday, but for some reason Monday looks more minimalistic, more simple, more contemporarily. So who wins? I can tell you that in my case, since I was getting started with the project management, since I have something really easily organized, Notion does a really great work for me. So you can focus into the best project management software, subject for depending heavily for subject needs, the team size, the product complexity, and prefer the workflow. If I was with more than 5 people or 10 people at a time, I think that I might be using Monday or Asana, since they are going to be helping us to do more, let's say, more complex tasks and adding more elements, and I might be needing automations, I might be needing some applications that I can integrate directly into my project management tool. But for now, I think it is stick around with a Notion template. So So we hope this real-world comparison gave you a better understanding of how these popular project management platforms perform, even with a small project. So if you have used any of these tools, which one is your favorite and why? You can let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Tech for more practical tech comparisons and tutorials. Thanks so much for watching the video, and hopefully we can all see you next time.